It's good to see you tuning in again. Thanks very much. Welcome to the final installment of my Tasmanian road trip adventure. And I have stumbled across a literal gold mine. This is the Coles Bay Historic Mine Site. And I found it down in the southern part of Tasmania. And I'm here to shoot tonight the Milky Way and whatever else I can find here. Have a look at this in the background. Now, this is not all that far from Port Arthur. I was actually at Port Arthur today, just having a look as a tourist, looking around the place, and it's awesome. But this is just as good. This is just beautiful. And the stuff here, all these old relics and old buildings, I'm going to have a look around and see what I can possibly get some photography from. Oh, this place is just fantastic. There are so many compositions here and it's open. I've got some really clear perspective views, particularly towards the east, maybe even towards the south a little bit if I want to get something down that way. So I'm just going to do some more exploring around here and just see what there is in this vicinity. There's a few walking tracks through here. So I'm going to have a look around, I'm going to have a good look and just see what's out here. I'm getting excited. Clear sky, old ruins, what could be better than that? I've come for a little bit of a walk down by the water here. So the inlet comes in here, the bay, and there's more ruins. There's ruins all through the bush up here. A little bit of a jetty, I'd say, that used to be here. And but that's a straight view to the east, and that's a view down to the south. Now, if I was fortunate enough to have any aurora activity happening, that's a perfect perspective down there. So you just don't know. Look, I'm in southern Tasmania. If there's going to be an aurora, this is the place to see it. Anyway, that was a good walk, but I'm going to have more of a look around and just see what else I can find around here. Wow. Doesn't get much better than this. That water is crystal clear. I can see right down to the bottom and it's as calm as anything here. I don't know what the tide's doing, but it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference here. Oh man, this is just wonderful. What a location. So I've just been walking through the bush here. This place literally goes on forever. There's little brick piles here and there's little signposts and monuments over there. They are just everywhere. This place, it's amazing. It's not all laid out so that you can see it. You've got to go searching for it. And I really like that. I think that's a great way to explore the countryside. Oh, it's still and calm and clear. That's all I need for tonight. Whew. Looks like a few Tasmanian locals down there behind me, getting the feed of the grass here. It is lush. Looks like there's a heap of kangaroos come here at night because there's droppings all over the place. I'll find out later. Well, that's a bit of a walk. Back to the car. All right, I'm going to have something to eat. Wait for it to get dark tonight. I'll be back here to capture some Milky Way. Okay, Well, here we are. I've arrived back at the mine site. The sky's clear, got about a 25 to 30% setting crescent moon over there in the west. I've been looking up, you know, there's another chance of an aurora tonight. I've been checking the Aurora Australis Tasmania webpage, and there is a possibility, so I'm just going to keep an eye out for that. But anyway, let's get down there and see what we can find. Well, I'm off to a really good start. I've come down here on these rocks on the foreshore. It is as calm as anything. The only problem is those aggressive Tasmanian mosquitoes have come back to haunt me. It's not so cold tonight, so they're out in force. Gee, I'll tell you what, I won't miss them when I go back home. But I've just shot here the Milky Way caller rising up there just on the edge of this headland. And I love the composition. I've done that in a vertical plane. I've also done a panorama facing more in a southerly sweep. So I did about 14 or 15 or 16 shots there, 2 rows. Now the moon's still quite high in the sky, so it's pretty bright. So I've had to increase my Kelvin white balance. So I put it up to about 6,500 Kelvin. That's quite warm, but because of the moonlight, it causes the night sky to turn blue, the same as the sun does in the daytime, turns the sky blue. It's just not quite as bright. So I'm keeping a very keen eye out for any signs of aurora, because that's what's predicted tonight for a possibility. So I keep taking a few test shots down that way, and if I see anything, I will let you know. Okay, so the moon is still in the sky, but it's coming down, and whilst it's been a strong moonlight, I've been shooting panoramas with pretty much just moonlit. A couple of these I've put the LED panels inside the buildings just to give them a little bit of a glow inside, but apart from that it's pretty much all ambient light from the moon up there. Now what I'm going to do shortly, when the moon gets down low enough, because I can see now already the sky's starting to brighten up the stars. I've been shooting these at 15-second shutter speeds at f2.8 at ISO 3200. So when the moon drops down and it's not impacting that sky, I'm going to up my ISO to 6400. I'll keep my shutter speed at 15, and I'll play around with the aperture depending on what I want to do with the foreground. So when the moon is gone, I will then start to do some of my fine art light painting on these buildings, because as it stands at the moment I can't do much because of the moonlight. And of course when the moon's there, I don't mind a bit of moonlight on large spaces like this, but the problem with moonlight, and invariably the moon is always opposite where the Milky Way core is in these situations, and so I'm getting quite a flat light because the light's actually coming from the same direction as the camera. Now that's something that I don't typically like. It looks fine because it is ambient light, but when I do my light painting I won't be doing that. I'll be lighting it from different angles and making these bricks and the rocks and everything else a little bit more exaggerated and put some shadow detail into them. So anyway, I'm just going to have a little bit of a rest and I'll come back and start doing that. Okay, so the moon is just about gone. I've just been setting up and doing a couple of test shots here with my camera pointing up straight to the core. And I did a single exposure just a minute ago, which I'll show you now, and I think it looks pretty good. That's just one single shot with, I've got my LED panel inside, and there was just a touch of moonlight on this face here. Now that's going to be gone any second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot about a stack of 10 images of the Milky Way up there with no lighting at all, and then I'm going to do my fine art light painting on the building inside and outside on these rocks at the front, and hopefully that one comes out okay. So let's get started. Well, I've got this quite comfortable little spot on this log facing down towards the south, and I'm shooting off images every now and then just to see if I can spot any aurora. Now I reckon there is a little bit of a glow happening on the horizon, but it's nothing like the show that I was privileged to see quite a few nights ago now down here in Tasmania. So I think I might just stay here for a little bit longer. I've finished shooting down at the ruin, and yeah, see what happens. If I get anything I'll put it up at the end and show you, but otherwise this is the end of my Tasmania adventure. It's been awesome, loved every minute of it. So look, I might see you in the morning and wrap up the whole thing then, I think, because I'm exhausted right now. I think I just need to take a few deep breaths and gather my thoughts. So I'll see you tomorrow. cannot beat a good cup of tea and toast with Vegemite to wake you up on a crisp morning like this. I'll tell you what, you guys need to get into this stuff. Vegemite. It's awesome. Love it. So after shooting last night at the old ruin down there, I made my way back to this awesome campground, which was only about 2 k's down the road. So I discovered it yesterday afternoon when I was exploring around, and it was just a perfect spot. There's probably about 4 or 5 other campers here, and it's a massive big area. So we had plenty of space to ourselves. And today, well, it's cloudy, the wind's getting up, a few spots of rain. So I think that maybe the window of clear sky opportunities may have passed by, but that doesn't matter because I'm finished. I'm finishing up today, heading back home. And oh, I tell you what, it has been such an awesome adventure. When I started this adventure, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Camping in the car, sleeping in the car, and operating out of the back of the car, that's a bit of a challenge. Thankfully, I didn't have much rain, and spending 2 weeks in Tasmania without much rain, I'll tell you what, that's a blessing. It doesn't happen very often. So when I first started over at Devonport and I went to those lighthouses, I just absolutely loved that because lighthouses are something that intrigues me. And when I was walking around and just exploring those areas, I thought to myself, this is where I want to be. I want to do this stuff. And of course, later on when I went back over to the Bay of Fires, now the Bay of Fires here in Tasmania is probably the most beautiful seascapes that you'll find anywhere in the world. It is just beautiful. There was such high waves and ocean. In fact, I spoke to one of the tourist operator guys over there, and he said he hadn't seen a swell that big for many, many years. And interestingly enough, there's hardly any tourists around. It's not tourist season. So the poor guy was lamenting his lack of business. But then, of course, I moved over to the southwest, chasing clear skies, and that paid off big time. I cannot believe that Sentinel Range. It is just beautiful over there. The mountains just stretch on forever and they just roll off into the distance. And you see, that's so different to where I'm from back in Victoria. And of course, the next night, wow, the sky exploded at Lake Pedder. I cannot believe that I captured that aurora in all its glory. And I don't think, even the locals were telling me, they haven't seen one that big for many, many years. So I just happened to be in the right spot at the right time. But I'll tell you what, that would not have happened had I not taken the risk from travelling all the way from Swansea on the east coast, all the way across to the southwest district. Here we go, it's starting to rain on me now. So it's funny. 4 seasons in one day, that's what they say about Tasmania. And speaking of 4 seasons, well, when I went up to Ben Lomond, I'll tell you what, it was the coldest I've ever shot anything. It was -3 on the car, but when I stepped out of the car, I reckon there was about a wind chill factor of another -3 on top of that. It was freezing. And then, of course, the fog and the clouds, and the cloud level just came down and swamped me out. But in between all of that, I did manage to capture a few good shots. And then, of course, I've made my way down along the coast again chasing the weather. I did want to get over to the west side of Cradle Mountain and a few places like that, but they were totally clouded at 100% cloud cover for the whole week. So I didn't do that. But I love that little stone cottage building. That was just amazing. And of course, as I came down to the tessellated pavement, wow, what a beautiful place that is to visit. And I met a young fella there, photographer from Western Australia, and we had a good chat. You know, part of what I love about nightscape photography is meeting people out there in the field, complete strangers, and suddenly you have something in common. And of course, I shot with Keith there that night. So Keith from Sydney. So it's been such an amazing adventure. And then here at this ruin last night, and down by the ocean and the bay, the inlet, it was such a calm place. And that was worth every minute of it. I'll tell you what, it was so good. So my adventure comes to a close. Thanks again so much for just joining me. Hope you've got through all these episodes. There's been a lot, and I hope you found some content there that's been of interest to you. Appreciate your support, your thumbs up and your likes and all of your comments and all of those things. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, I mean, it really means so much to me. It's a lot of work putting all this together, and it was a lot of work to drive around this state, but I tell you what, I wouldn't want to do anything else. So until I see you next time on my next road trip adventure, you have a fantastic week. I'll see you later.